Almost too good to turn down. Get that down to a manageable level. Who doesn't love the Deep Space Nine theme, even when it's been jazzed up? Good afternoon, whoever is out there. Slayer1, thank you for joining. Or Clearbur, I can't read. Welcome on in for the first time. I appreciate you being here. My name is Bear. I watercolor. I barely watercolor. That wasn't rehearsed. It's the truth. Yeah, I'm a little over a year into kind of self-training myself on how to watercolor. I sometimes do well, I sometimes do poorly, and I just kind of show everything because that's life, right? So welcome on in. Uh, what am I going to do today? Oh, let me turn this down. Uh, one, drink coffee if you got it. Whatever your caffeine preference is, have at it. Today, I wanted to do something Star Trek-y. It's my main theme when I can help it. So, my goal is to pick one of these images that I've got. Let me show them. I have previously worked with ChatGPT to kind of build like a idea for what I'd want a potential future VTuber to look like for my character. You can see some of its work in the bottom right corner, the little floating talking head. It did part of it, and I modified the rest and put it in a program, and it talks when I do. Sort of. Well, it took the same idea, and it saved it, and it tweaks it, in the random ways that ChatGPT likes to do. And I asked it to create like a whole like story with prodding from me to be like, what would my character be if it were a character in Star Trek? So I had to be like an wow, I can't use words. Anthropomorphic bear. That was hard to say. Who works on designing the LCARS interface, the computer interface that you see, the touch panels and all that, like you see around my screen right now. He designs those. That's what his goal in life is. That's what he does on the starship. Is he makes custom interfaces for whoever needs it on the crew. To be the most efficient or the most artful, whatever's necessary, and he tries to throw his own style into it. So the ship that he's on, the interfaces are a little bit different than normal because he loves to watercolor paint, and he does that in his off time. He makes the LCARS interfaces in a watercolor style. So they all have a slight visual difference, but the same kind of function you would see on any other starship. I thought that would be a cute little distinction. So I asked it to go through and build some imagery of what it thinks that it might look like. And then later on, today, in fact, I asked it to create these. I thought, I can't really I'm not good at just creating the shapes on my own. So I thought if it could make something I'm satisfied with in black and white that I can put on my light box over here and trace onto watercolor paper, then paint so that it looks good, I'd be satisfied with that. Reason being, more than anything that already exists out there that somebody else made, somebody else owns, or somebody else has used in some way, and it's pretty much everywhere. And I'm just going to be taking, other things that people have made and reproduce it exactly down to the line. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather create something new. And I don't have the artistic skill to create brand new line art, so I'm using ChatGPT to help come up with that. But I've got three possibilities for what I'm going to do today. I'm either going to do this one. This is the first one that it made when I asked it to create something with my bear character in his uniform at work. So in his element, or surrounded by the LCARS terminals and all that he's working on, but also with a bunch of painting supplies around. And it went in a weird direction because ChatGPT, and it gave him two paintbrushes and a bunch of paint supplies all over, but he's not supposed to be painting in this. He is supposed to be working. So I thought, okay, well, let's switch gears. Let's make him be painting, get him just one brush, and let him be working on a canvas of some kind, right? So this is what it made next. Very Star Trek The Next Generation. I like how it looks. It's slightly weird in that the ship that it put in the corner over here doesn't really look real. It looks very, very abstract. And his fingers were disappearing under this thin canvas. So I thought, let's try it one more time, try to make the ship a little bit more realistic, and maybe do something to make the block of paper bigger. So it did that. So that's the last one that it made. And of course, it completely changed the uniform. But it's kind of okay, because this is like a smock, like a Star Trek uniform-inspired smock, right? So I think I'm liking this one. It made the ship in the back the most realistic. I like how that one looks. It actually kind of almost looks like the Enterprise NX-01 from Star Trek Enterprise, but the refit version they were going to release in later seasons that they never got to. It's hard to see because I have it really far away. But yeah, I like that one, how that came out. And everything on this is large enough that I can abstract it when I want to. I don't have to replicate the spots on the uniform because I think it was trying to go for you ended up with spots of paint on you. Oh, okay, sure. I'll probably skip those. But maybe I'll add some on manually afterward that look like they're meant to be there, like they're actual spills. And he's working on a little space scene like I like to do. So I think this might be the one I'm going to go with. Though this one looks more like a real bear in a way, with human hands, which is weird. And this one looks more kind of like my little character in the corner there. He looks a little bit more cartoony in a way. So cartoony or realistic. I'm probably going to go for the more realistic looking one. So I'm thinking this guy. So let me get him over here, and I'm going to put up all the other ones. Got some paper for scratch paper so I can test colors. I'll get that over here for now. I've got a battery pack to power my light box. Normally I would use my main palette, but I decided to have a little bit broader color selection today, and I'm going to use a different set. And because of that, I need some little side dishes to use as palettes. I'm going to use this Kuretake set today. In a previous stream, I did a color swatch. It also technically has one on the inside of the lid that I did not use. Just got all the names on it. And all of the names are on the actual pans as well. So it's a really nice set. I absolutely love how most of the colors come out. The only issue I had with this when I was swatching it is when you dry it with a heat gun. If it puddles and it tries to dry it, it makes it turn kind of plasticky in a way. The binder in it, I think, is different than some of the paints I've used, so it tends to get kind of like a more glossy sheen if it's laid on thick. Um, so that is interesting. We'll see how it comes out. Uh, it's hard to tell. I don't know how well. Yeah, there we go. You can see the reflection in the light above. That everywhere that I did or I tried to do a buttery consistency of the paint on the far left side of each swatch, you can see where it gets really reflective in no time. But I don't know if that will act differently on different quality paper. So that's what I'm thinking of doing today. Since this gives me a bigger color selection, I'm going to use this one. It's got more blues and oranges than I have in my standard palette. So I think I like how this is going to go. I'm just going to try to be light on my paintbrush. Light on my paint. I'm going to try to be more in the midtones area, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I don't want to go ridiculously dark on the painting, because I don't want to bring out all that weird glossiness. So I'm going to keep this behind me over here, or in front of me. Hopefully it won't fall. I actually yesterday moved my desk. So it's slightly further away from the wall, but further to the right from where it was. So because of that, things that I lean back there are really going to lean back. So I have to be careful about not dropping them. But one benefit is I've got more desk space to work with than I did before. So that's kind of nice. Let me find somewhere to put this so it's out of the way. We can go over there. And I'm going to put this and all of the actual paint part of the supplies away, because for the first bit of today, it's not going to be painting, it's going to be sketching or tracing. So I'm going to put this to the side to make some room for it first. I have my light box here. That's all over there. I went ahead and pre-pulled off a sheet of paper. I'm using Arches 300 GSM's 140-pound cold press paper. I don't normally go for the arches. I tend to preserve it for stuff I care about, and I think I'm going to spend enough time on this that I want it to actually look good. And because of the glossiness of the paint when it gets really heavy, I want to give it the best chance of survival. I think this will do that. I hope. We'll find out together. But Arches is great. It's very expensive. It's like $24 to $26, give or take, for a 9x12 pad of 12 sheets. So it gets really pricey. So I try to preserve that for when I really care about something. Otherwise, I've got mid and really cheap paper for scratch and for just standard stuff. Um, so yeah, that's enough yammering about the paper. I have it here ready to go. Let's go ahead and unfurl the cable for this. All right. And it's a little dirty. I think it's gotten a little dirty over time. I've got my alcohol over there. Let me scooch my little bare paper that I'm going to trace from in my paper over. Whoa! It wanted to slide away. Let me snatch some paper towels really quick. And my alcohol. Not the good stuff. Just isopropyl. I may at some point end up getting some denatured alcohol, but I feel like that might be a bit too strong for what I use it for. I mainly just use it for cleaning my work area when I'm done, because it evaporates pretty quickly, and it's really good at pulling up watercolor paints. Yeah, I tend to use that a lot of times, but I am going to move my coffee so I don't end up drinking the alcohol. And there we are. Just a little splash on it right there. Yeah, that's getting better. I think it just started a bunch of just air debris and all that, and dust, and just greasiness from the air, and probably cooking because the kitchen's over there. Just landed on it over time and made a very thin film on it. There we go. Close it up. While I'm over here, I'm gonna need some tape, so I'll grab that. Right. Um, we're dry. We are. Okay. So I'm gonna put this here first. I'm gonna just tack this piece down so it doesn't slide around. Bear debris? Yes, exactly. Bear debris floating in the air, sticking to things. I think I'll just tack it in the corners. It's pretty much centered enough, so that should be fine. I like to use painter's tape because it's easy to peel back up again. It's pretty good about, as long as when I'm using it on top of watercolor paper, it does really good at, as long as I press it down firmly enough, it does a good job at blocking out the water and the paint from getting beyond the tape. But only when I do it squarely. If I if I do it in patchwork, it comes out kind of funky. I'll show you really quick. This is a dragon that I did the other day, like a week or two ago now, probably 2 weeks, I think. And all of these individual lines here that you see were not intentional. They ended up making very sharp corners and lines where the paint bled through underneath and around the tape. But I ran with it because it ended up turning him into an electric dragon. So I went ahead and just let it look like it was electrical activity, like his powers going crazy around him as he was like roaring and ripping fire, right? So it ended up, sometimes accidents turn into amazing things, right? So I think this guy came out pretty cool. This was an experiment using soap, like Dawn dish soap, for bubbles, and laying it down. I masked out the entire dragon except for just what I considered his back. Put soap bubbles on it, and then put watercolor inks and acrylic inks on top of the bubbles. Put plastic wrap down on part of it and let it dry completely overnight. And when I came back and peeled it back, I'll try to get really close so you can see it here. Come on, focus. Focus. There we go. You can see the texture that it made where the bubbles were is freaking beautiful, right? So using soap bubbles to paint with is like one of my new favorite things. So I will try to be using that whenever I see fit that it feels like something that would look good, right? So super cool texture. Let me go put this, well, I'll just put it over here for now, keep it safe. I'll put it back later, and later will be like a week from now. Okay, nope, you're gonna slide? Okay, I'll put it down here. There we go. What am I doing? Tape, yes. So, yep, that's me meandering about from thought to thought. Nope, you're all good. Lurk away. See you when you get back. Let's go ahead and get the next corner down. Yeah. This doesn't have to be perfect because it's not going to be painted on. I think I'm not hitting anything that's got line art on it. Nope. Okay, good. No. Okay. We can get the watercolor paper down on it. This side has more texture, so that is the top. Alright, I think before I tape this down, I need to figure out what the alignment's going to be, so let's go ahead and get the battery hooked up. Go over there. Right. I think that will be fine. Maybe a little higher up. I think that's a bit centered. Might be as good as we can get it. Maybe a little bit to the left. Yeah, that'd be good. Let's go ahead and get some tape down on this. Same kind of placement. Doesn't have to be the brightest thing in the world, but I do wish this light box was just a tiny bit brighter. Nothing ridiculous, just like a hint, like I say just a hint, like 50% brighter would be brilliant. And it's not because it's bad, it's because I'm bad. I think my eyes are getting older and older, and it's getting harder and harder to see things like this. But I'm going to try. Having done this before, I already know I'm not going to be able to see it, so I'm going to take my glasses off. Because I'm going to have to be leaning in close to this to be able to read it, or see it, rather. Don't mind my gulping if that comes across the mic. I am drinking some coffee. All right. Okay, so what pens am I going to use? I have 5 different sizes of these pens. These are indelible ink. It's Winsor and Newton, so it's actually a brand that does art supplies. I did that on purpose to try to stick to one that's known to work. This is a 1.0 line width, the thickest one that I have. And I have a few different sizes here. Gosh, it's hard to get it out of there sometimes with all the stuff in there. I have a 0.8 as well. 0.5, so half the thickness of the large one. I might keep that one out to do thinner lines. I have a 0.3, and then the last one is, I think, a 0.1. Let's see. Yes, 0.1, the thinnest one I've got. So I'm going to put the thinnest one back, and I'm going to put the 0.3 one back. Hey, get out of there. Get out of there. Nobody wants you here. Move along, sir. All right. Okay, I'm going to keep the 0.5 out, keep the 1 out. I'm going to put up the 0.8 because I think I'm just going to want to keep it with the thick outline, and if I need to do thinner stuff, I'll do the half thickness one, but I'll keep it to the side for that if I need it. Aside from that, hey Goddess, welcome in. Hey, early today, woohoo, must be Memorial Day. It is Memorial Day, and I am early because I'm off and I wanted to get started early. Mainly because I knew I was going to be doing a lot of line art and sketching or tracing today, so I wanted to at least get started on this early so I'd have time to paint afterward. Hopefully you can see through it. I am doing my bear character that you see in the bottom right corner there. I got him originally through ChatGPT, so I asked Mr. ChatGPT. He's a good-looking fella. I asked him to make me 3 different possibilities for what my character would look like in black and white, so that I could trace it in this way on a light box. And he gave me 3 different possibilities, and this is the one I chose. You might be able to see it slightly through the light box. We'll probably see it more as I'm tracing. But I wanted to get him painting something surrounded by Star Trek, like Elcar's computer panels. And I'd said, like, part of the story that I wanted to have for my character is that he's working on a starship. But his job is working with computers, creating user interfaces. So the Elcar's user interface, like the one you see around my border on the screen right now, he makes those. But what's unique about him is on his ship, because he's in control of that, he makes those Elcar's computer interfaces like I did here using watercolors. So all the Elcar's computer interfaces across the entire starship that is on his very specific ship that he works on are all made using watercolor elements. So he blends a little bit of it into his work. So I wanted to show like what his workspace would look like. I asked ChatGPT to generate that for me. It gave me 3 different options. This is the one I chose because it had the least weird hallucinations / weirdness. So I like how it looks, so I'm going to go with this guy. Yeah. So this is probably going to be an hour of me just tracing this. I had to take my glasses off because to be able to see it up close. I don't have reading glasses. It's on my list of things to do is get some. I mentioned it the other day, like trifocal, like the modern trifocals, the seamless, lineless ones, to be able to have like normal vision and up close vision, all that all in one set. But until then, I do this. You know, I think I'm going to need to do another piece of tape in the corners because this one just popped up. It's not for painting, it's just for keeping the image underneath in place while I trace so I don't go, out of sync with it. Or out of alignment. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. How you doing today, Goddess? It was fun watching your stream yesterday. Sunday. Yesterday. I had to leave near the end, but I was glad to catch what I did. I absolutely love watching your crochet work. Every time I see it, it looks like magic. which is why you are the Yarnomancer. Your magic. Oh yeah, I think this will hold down far better, wrapping it around the back. You're welcome. Did you get to finish that the goth purse that you were working on? The colors on that were absolutely amazing. I love that it was all black and it had like pops of neon in it. That was so cool looking. Okay. Which one's the one? This is the one. This one's the 0.5 thickness pen. Okay. Let me grab my scratch piece because I do have these sitting in here upright. I would think I need them upside down or at least level. I just want to make sure it didn't dry out anything. Tape can go back over there. Oh yeah, nope, they're just fine. What does the other view look like? Actually, I have a new screen. I went ahead and set up a full screen view. And I've got both my side camera and my overhead view in there. So if we want to be zoomed in slightly with less of the interface getting in the way, I can have this up so we can see a little bit more detail sometimes. I'll probably keep this up for now. The side one I don't think is really showing a lot. I do have a second view I can turn it to. But it might not be too easy to see what I'm doing like this. You'll just be seeing me right. So I think I'll keep the overhead view on. You said almost finished. I will be today. Got distracted with rearranging things in my classroom. Got it. Understood. Awesome. I look forward to seeing it. If anything, if you still have it on you when you stream next, just if you like pop it on screen for a second to show it off. Otherwise, if you got to give it away, clearly I think everybody would understand. I think it'll be really cool to see the finished product. This one. Yes, this guy. As with all things, I need to start on the top and work my way toward me because the second I brush my arm against it while it's wet, I'm going to ruin it. So, I think a good portion of this may be me not talking. So let me see if I can find a different bit of music that's more fun to listen to, and I may turn it up slightly. I did have it on Star Trek stuff, but there's only so much of that that's copyright free. I don't want it to be sleepy. Oh, you know what? I know. Um, I have too many playlists on here. And I took my glasses off so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, let's be smart about this. Put the cap on so you don't dry out the tip of this. Look. Oh yeah, this one? Okay. I'm just gonna have that back there very low in the background. And I'm gonna put my headphones down and I'm gonna go snag some coffee really quick because I am flat out. Words are hard. Be right back. Hey, I'm back with probably more than enough coffee to get through the rest of the stream. Alright. Let's get cracking on this or it'll never get done. Already 44 minutes in. 30 minutes of jabbering and 10 minutes of lead time. Alright. Let's go ahead and I'm going to bring this over where I can see it. Where should I start? I think maybe on the... Oop, huh? It's so easy to hit. I have to be so careful. The button to turn this on up here is touch sensitive, and if I brush against it by accident, it fades down in brightness. And then when you press and hold it again, it fades up until it reaches maximum brightness, and then just tapping it turns it off, tapping it turns it on. So it's like a multi-function button. But because of that, it's so easy to hit. It should have been on the side where you can't rest your arm or hand on it. Poor design. So I just have to be really careful not to touch that corner again. But yes, I think I'm going to start over on this far side and then work my way toward me. So let's get cracking on this. Light over in the corner turned off. I don't think I depend on it for anything. No, what I'm working on right now is backlit anyway, so it's fine. I'll turn it back on in a few. Get my phone for when I do. Okay. This done. I have to accidentally unplug my headphones with my elbow over here. You get to see the top of my bald head as it sneaks into frame. That little corner. Jeez. That scared the hell out of me. Uh, my mic just decided to like slide downward and it fell right on my arm. Scared the crap out of me. The how it connects is kind of awkward. It's so heavy. Let me see if I can move it down and just rest it on the table. That'll probably give it a better chance of survival. Nope, that's as good as we're gonna get. Alright, I'll just try to be mindful of it and try not to let it slam on my arm like that. Spider? Don't say that. Is there one? Really? I hate spiders. No, I did seriously get scared by my mic falling on me. But oh my god, if you see a spider, scream it. I don't want there to be one. Uh, no spiders, please. We're a spider-free zone in this house. I'm seriously looking everywhere for a spider now. Coffee. Coffee break for sure. Okay. Making progress. To continue on all of the outline stuff around the character himself. And I'll just kind of hone in on him in a minute. For the moment, coffee. Let's hope this is dry. It's what it's meant to do, is dry quickly, so we'll see. I'm going to try to get up here and do this. Oh, you know what? Here, let me put this over it. And let's focus on this little starship here. That's good enough. Last up, the character. I think I'll start with the thicker outlines, and where I need to thin it out, I'll switch to the smaller one if needed. Saved him for last. All right, I think that's it. Yeah, I don't think I missed anything. Oh, it looks good. He came out really nice. Oof. All right. Not too shabby. All right. Put up the pens. Maybe I'll keep the... No, I'll put it up. Hour 20 minutes to jabber and draw. Not bad. Glasses ready. So I can see what I'm not doing. Oh my god, I sound like my dad. Alright. Let me turn the music down a bit. And let's go ahead and unwrap this puppy. Yeah, pretty accurate. I took a little bit of artistic liberty here because ChatGPT missed the other side of the combat, so I just finished it off right there. But yeah, I think I hit all the main lines that it needed. I'll keep this nearby as a reference while I'm working too. Alright, I'm happy with it. I'm going to turn this off. Unhook this from my battery. Fill up 2 bars. Keep that going for a bit. See how that goes. That can go over. Yeah. Good question. Where can I put this? Here for now. And this. Right. We have ourselves one hot steaming pile of bear. That sounds weird. It came out really pretty. I'm really happy with that. Now let's ruin it by me painting it, right? No. So we've got a lot of decisions to make on colors, where they're going to go, how heavy they're going to be, what he's going to be painting. So yeah, get to figure out who he is. Well, we've got our scratch paper. I don't think I'm going to go edge to edge, but I am going to tape it off, so I need to put it on something. So I think I want to deal with the. I swear, I need to put. I'm the guy that needs to, but doesn't really. Use those little Dymo labels, the little like label maker machine, to put a label on everything that's obviously named around me, because I will look at something really obvious, forget what it's called for a brief moment, and then like I lose it, right? Clipboard. The clipboard I have over there that I sometimes paint on, that I tape down to, it doesn't really hold on to this kind of thing well. And the only other thing I've got that I could use is gigantic. I don't think, let me see. It might be fine, but I'm gonna have to rearrange stuff around it. So let me scooch some things around. And let's go back to our normal live view. We call those senior moments? Yeah, my senior moments are happening a little early. They're in phase 1. All right, scoot some of the stuff over. All right. This is okay for the moment. That won't go anywhere. Of course, this fell over. I need to find a level surface to put this in. This is my new salt shaker. But it's an egg, so it's round. I'll cover that up. It's got a flat surface that you fill it in, but it tips over really easily, and I spill salt on my surface over here. So now I've got some salt that I need to clean. That's just going to bug me, so let me just do that really quick. Good enough. Okay, let me move my water out of the way. So I'll bring it back, but it's in the way for what's coming. Okay, that can come over here. That can come over here. This, I will even temporarily scoot this out of the way. Okay, let's try to make this thing fit up here. Oh my hell! Oh my heck! Oh geez, go this way. Oh, actually, this is the side that I painted on. Yeah, this one. Woo. This guy. This big chunky boy. This is a gigantic cutting board. The benefit being it's solid and heavy, and made of wood. And when I tape to it, it doesn't come back up with the tape like the particle material from the clipboard, that pressed material. As soon as it got wet, it started separating, and it makes it where the tape doesn't stick. This works. It's just huge, though. All right, let's start rebuilding around it. Put some water here, perhaps. We have to figure out where everything goes and fits on this and around it. Let's look at the item itself. Where is it going to go? Probably here. And I will tape it down, and then I'll have room for the paints here, some paper towels, and the water can go off to the side. I think that's about as good as I can get it. All right, let's tape this guy down. And we have to stand up to tape this all down. All right, that's there. I can do the lower part. That went sideways. Get that down nice and solid. Get another piece. Oh, Be able to get that last bit without standing up. Let's see. I was worried about lining it up, but since everything else got down, I think this helped center it up a little bit more. Alright, Link. Told you it's dangerous to go alone. There you go. Go back where you belong. Well, you're good enough. Alright. Get our tape down. Solid everywhere we need it. Hopefully this will not curl up at all. Okay. Now, this corner. We need to figure out a palette. Oh, we also need to figure out where we're going to put our paint. I'll put it where I have that. Okay. You can go there. Hopefully I don't need all the extra to figure out how many colors we need. Okay, so let's think it through. Here is our swatch. And we can double check the names here in a minute. So we need some colors for this guy. I already know when it comes to uniform, the typical, well, he's, oh, excuse me, yawn. Oh, it's rude. Oh, no accounting for taste. Don't mind me. Just the sleepy starting to kick in, or the talking too much. Anywho, he works on computers. He does computer interfaces, so he's going to be in the engineering team. And in the current generation of Star Trek stuff, engineers wear gold. So somewhere in his uniform, it needs to be gold in some way. My little character in the corner has got a slightly different uniform because, you know, it just kind of made it and I ran with it. Clearly, I'm going to change it a little bit as time goes on. But my little guy here, I think he's going to be mostly gold, at least normally. However, I don't think it has to be shown here because I think the purpose of him is this is his like off hours. So he's wearing a uniform that's basically like a painting smock, probably all white. And he's just going to have splotches of where he's gotten ink on himself or paint on himself before. And he just wears his comm badge over it, so if he needs to be reached, he can be, right? So, I believe I'm going to leave his uniform mostly white and just put in some shadow, like some very, very faint grays and whatnot, where there should be shadows in there if there is any. His fur, I'm going to let that be kind of that gold brown color, kind of like what my character in the corner is. Not fully, but mostly. All the... Ugh. Man, I'm talking too much. All the computers in the background, I'll do some basic, like LCARS kind of colors, but clearly they're watercolors, so they might have a couple blending bands in there, if that makes sense. And then the comm badge, I'll just go with the traditional, like, silver for the little trident little bit. Or not trident, the... What is it called? Delta. Little delta insignia in the middle will be silver, and then gold will be the little thing behind it. The rest of it will just wing it. So, main colors. is going to be his fur, the user interfaces of all of the panels behind him, and then we're going to make a painting. He's going to be working on maybe like a galaxy painting, because that makes sense. He's in space, and it's what I like to do. And then I think maybe a lot of like grayish tones for the panels around him, like the actual tables and the ceilings and things like that, but different shades. So, what we have here, for his fur, we're probably gonna go. Let's see. I'm seeing. Hmm. That is too dark. We might be a burnt sienna. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I'll find you again. Okay. Okay, I'm singing too much. No such thing, right? Yeah, I think it's going to be mostly burnt sienna, but I might mix in some of this raw umber deep, so he's got some darks and some lights. They're the only two brownish colors we've got, so I'm probably going to start with that, and maybe some of this gold in the corner to give him some lighter highlights, and it can be the gold color. So let's get some of that down. Right. Let that soak in for most of it, but I can just start the areas I'm going to play with. Okay. So we've got some burnt sienna. Beginning of some bare colors. Get some of that raw umber deep next to it so we can see how it blends. Okay. Some of the gold. Brown blends right into it, makes it disappear. How's it look on the other side? We also have a yellow ochre way up here. So you might want to use a little bit of. For bare colors, that might be a bit too yellow. I honestly think we might stick with the brown and maybe very thin amounts of the burnt sienna and then the gold, and just kind of stick with something Oh, that might be too brown. Might disappear. So what if we start with only gold? That gold's too dirty looking. I don't know if I like it. That's why I didn't like the metallics in this set to begin with. Hmm. And we have to do a mix. Yeah, maybe a mix of the burnt sienna and the gold. And then hit him with some of the darker brown, the raw umber deep for some highlights when we need to. I think that might be best. Okay. Let's mix a little bit of that. We also have this bluish gold that's next to it. That could work. Just as dirty, you can barely see it. It looks like dirt water. It only becomes more apparent when it dries. Which, you know, can be fine too. Curiouser and curiouser. What about... It's not too terrible. I don't want him to look weirdly like Bear Jaundice, where he's very yellow. You know what I mean? Hmm. So tough. It's the tough questions. That's too red. Hmm. You only have a lot of shades here. What ended up looking the best? Well, if I make him brown... Did I do the brown and the gold? I think I did. Maybe I do some of this. Okay, I'm committing to that. I'm just gonna run with it because it's gotta get done. So bare colors, I'm gonna use this, which is a combination of raw umber deep, bluish gold, and gold, the brown one, like on the left here. And then this bottom one is I think it's the bluish gold with burnt sienna. I think that's the one with the yellow ochre. I almost don't know anymore, but I don't need much of it, so I'm gonna run with that. And then for the watercolors colors, when we get to that, I think I will have to switch to another sheet of paper, and I'll experiment with those in a minute. So let's put that over here. Put this back here. Let's at least get some of our bear taken care of. Okay, so we can start with a lighter color. I'm going to thin it once I've got some on the brush. And let's start with just the area around his face. I'm just going to do the area around his mouth and over the top of his nose. And hit it with just a little bit more. Let's transition to our raw umber deep one. I'm going to thin it out. Let's try to get it just around the edges. Mhm. Get some of that pure brown color right inside his ear, where it would probably be the darkest. Yes, thank you, Goddess. I think it is going to be super cute when it's done too. As long as I don't screw him up too badly here, I think he's going to make it. I just have to don't do what I normally do and rush anything. I need to take my time, do it right, and I think he'll be really cute. Okay. Let me go ahead and try to get some of the same kind of colorings on his hands. I'm thinking maybe near the fingertips we fade his color again. Let's see. Just like I'm gonna make his claws and his nose black, so I don't mind if I accidentally go over the few claws that we see. Light went out again. Needs to set it to stay on. It's turned on through Alexa and it just kind of does what it wants. Okay. And let's get some of our brown. Stop with that for the moment. Remembering I want to keep him kind of half transparent. I don't want to do what I normally do and darken it to hell, like I do with like my space ones, because those I tend to make them darker because I'm heavy-handed. I want him to be more transparent, so I can't go too far with him. Okay. Let's hit just a little bit more upper paw kind of area. So add a little more of this darker brown and get it into his under neck area. And try to get some of his under eye. Let's grab some black. His nose. Let's bring that back and try to soften that. That helped. Okay. And while I've got it, is it dry? No. Leave it alone. Okay. I'll come back to that. What next? I think I could probably do the comm badge now, but what are we gonna do? I think I might even switch to my smaller brush for that really quick. Let's make some of that back from the center. Doesn't show up much anyway, but that's fine. How about the gold? Okay, so while we let that dry for a moment, let's look at some of the other colors. So in the original image that ChatGPT made, it made this collar here completely black. This one, it made that completely black, and I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of like it being left alone. Um, so I'm probably going to leave that one be. I will need to do some black or really close to black inside the sleeve here and inside of it here and over here uh, to show, shadow because it's inside the sleeve. Um, I think this table was dark on the back and the side. So I may do that as well, and I'll color this with splotches of paint too, because this is part of his tunic, showing between the leg and the side of the table as well. And then we get to figure out all of the panels in the back, which is going to be a unique scenario, so I'll figure that out. I think the background's going to be more difficult, so I'm probably going to save that for later. But I could probably start work on the table area. So maybe let's look at that. First off, though, the brush. I think similar to the brushes that I have, I want to try to maybe recreate some of this color of the brush. So let's try to figure out what that looks like. Got some burnt sienna look to it, but it's also got some red. So I think I may grab some of this rose madder, maybe mix it into the burnt sienna, because I don't think we're going to need any burnt sienna for anything else. Maybe a little more. Let's try to get some of that in there. To keep a little light streak on the side of it there, because I always fill in all of my light colors. And it'd be smart to keep a little thin strip of light to glisten on the side of the brush there. I just grabbed some of that red matter and just picked up a huge, just a little thin tip, a bit of it on the tip, so it'll be more red on the left side of the brush. I think we can go back to our black, thin it out, and start with a very light gray color on the bristle on the upper part, I think. Just try to get that a little more wet. Just the brush bristles. Well, let me get just a touch of the black. Try to go right here. on the top. Yeah. And let's grab some indigo, because that's where I live. Let's put some of that on the tip on this end. It'll be a little bit of ultramarine. Okay, I'm stopping there. Because we'll put what we're going to put on the brush. On the painting, I mean. Okay. That's going to need to dry before I mess with too much of it, because I know how I am. I want to paint the little, the ridges part. Gold color. I didn't do the bit right there because I didn't think about it. I'm not trying to do an exact replica, but if I was trying to, I already messed it up, but it's fine. I'll probably just save some time for when this is all totally dry, and I'll do a little bit of gold. Maybe not from this set, but from my other watercolor set, my other metallics, and put some gold on these little areoles, whatever it's called, the little ridges here, the little separating areas, once it's all totally dry. And then it's probably been long enough. I can get his claws, the two that are visible, nice and dark. There we go. Not perfectly black, but mostly dark. This is a pad of paper, so I think I should leave it mostly white. But the bit in the middle where he's painting should be something. Once this dries totally on the tip here, maybe we can do our little space scene. But until then, let's figure out a gray that's going to go well for the console, for the table that's underneath here. I'm thinking we do a little research. Pull my phone up, and let's take a look at what, like, Voyager. I'm going for a Voyager era. Let's look at what Voyager's consoles look like. So, like most things, the flat panels themselves, the actual computer screens, are black with all of the lit up colored panels in front of it. So that'll be for the back area there. The walls have this kind of like gunmetal kind of look to them. A lot of shadow, and maybe sometimes a gold kind of color comes in. But like the actual, like, this is a really terrible picture, but from the bridge, it's like a really dark gray gunmetal color. So I think I may stick with just like a dark to light, like in mid dark gray color, and it'll highlight when the light hits it, and it'll be dark in the shadows, but in neutral lighting, it would be a gray color. I don't know if it's going to have any kind of... Yeah, I think we're really just looking at like a silver black kind of color. It doesn't really... Come on, focus. Okay, well, it's not going to want to focus, but it ends up with this really kind of dark gray silver color. Oh, now it decides to focus. So it does have this kind of metallic metal plastic mixture combination kind of look to it. So I'm probably going to try to reproduce some of that. So I'm going to need my metallic silver set. Especially my shoulder, it hurts. Oh, um, and the closest thing to us should be the most metallic. And I should probably remove the metallic look from the background and just go the same shade but a grayish color. So it's not like the whole thing looking reflective. So let me get my silver. 1 second. Okay, look at that. So we should get a mixture going. We're going to need a lot of it eventually, but not just now. Let's start with the silver. That's enough silver. Put them over here for now. And let's find. I think we're gonna hit a tiny bit of black and a tiny bit of a light blue, because there is kind of like a tinge of blue with some of it sometimes, and I think that might look kind of good. So let me start with the black. I'm not going with much. Let me get some additional water in there. Honestly, just something like that. You don't want to go too dark with it. Looking kind of good. I like it. Let me. And I'm going to get some ultramarine pale. Put just a hint of it in here. Lighten it right back up again. Okay. And let's grab my sheet. Of course, I put it up already. What does our panel look like? Yeah, that's a nice little gray color. It's just a little bit of reflection, which I mean, obviously the reflection doesn't come up too well Um, wouldn't be me if it didn't have blue. It's true. Blue is one of my favorite colors. Technically green. It used to be blue when I was a kid, then I shifted to green when I got older. But when it comes to space, I mean, space is blue, indigo, black, right? Um, but it's barely there. You can hardly tell I added any of it. It's almost white, so it's just a hint of it. But I think when that dries, I think that'll be a nice little pale metallic color for desks. And then I think I'll just cover the whole desk area in this and let it dry. And then different facets of it, I'll do like another layer or like a thin black or gray over the top of it. And then the side stuff that's going to be mostly shadow, I'll do like a darker black over it. But I'll start with a base coat of this kind of silver color. So let me scoot that over. Yes. I have to remember, don't do this little thin corner right here in between because that is tunic, the white tunic. This is a leg. This is the ground back behind him, the floor. And this is the side of the table. So I want the table leg, a piece that's showing there. You know what? I can change up my mind on that. That looks like it needs to be the 3D side of the table leg. So I think I'll actually make that table leg and just have it recess in, and that'll be all black there. That makes more sense. Okay, so let's mix this up. And I'm just going to put it on pure just like this. Whoops. I went a little bit too far on that and got it right on top of the page. So I'll probably put a color on there to cover it up. See it this side. One pass. Use similar color for... Since it doesn't actually seem very metallic or reflective, I think I could probably use the same kind of color for all of the panels in the back. So I'll probably end up doing that too. In fact, honestly, let's just do it. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to mix up more of it, which is everybody's dread. Trying to remix the same thing. Some more of that ultramarine blue, or ultramarine pale. That is darker. Again, it's what everybody's fear is, right? Having to remix more of something. Okay. So let's add some more ultramarine pale to it. Probably put too much black in it. I'm almost afraid to use it. Try again. Let's see how that looks. That's better. Go with it. If I need to go over the top of the other one again, I can kind of do that. I comment. Hey, what's up? Yes. Good boy. And the rest of it I can work on later. Of the panels and all that. I think they'll pop more once there are shadows on them and the panels with the actual displays are lit up as well. So I think that'll look good. Okay. Let's do a couple little small things, then we can call it quits for today. So let's get some black. Out some more. And let's get right there. And inside there. Inside here. Clean water. Let's get some water on here. Get some colors on that quick. We're going. We'll start yellow. Get a couple little bits of yellow in here. Let's hit some green. Just do a couple little hits with that in there. While we're waiting, let's start hitting some of this area with some water as well. Okay, I think I've done enough damage. Uh, some of this is going to need to be tweaked to try to pull some of this up, just because it starts getting kind of dirty if they blend together too much, I think. Okay. I've done enough damage for tonight. There's a lot more to go on it. I think I'm going to stop here, let it dry, come back to it on Thursday, maybe do some sort of border that makes sense for a watercolor paper pad or block around this. Brush off the salt. I'm going to leave the uniform color the way it is. That part I'm satisfied with, and it's done, and will dry, and it looked like he just got watercolor all over him because he just flicked it all over the place because he's goofy like that. And then I will hit the panels in the back and get them done. Work on the shading on all of the gray areas where that's all just tables and consoles and ceilings and walls and all that, and try to figure out where the shadows make sense and get those darker. So the background has some sort of obvious flow that makes sense to it. And if he needs any highlighting, we'll do that. Otherwise, I think we'll leave him alone, and I think he's good after that. So I'm gonna let this dry, do its thing, and we'll come back and hit this on Thursday and see how we can enhance him some more. And then we'll cover up all of this stuff and try to get some stars on the painting. Or maybe not yet. He doesn't need stars. He's in the middle of painting it. He would never put stars on it just yet, so he's going to probably leave that alone just like it is in progress, like that. But yeah, I think that's going to look really cute when it's all done. So yeah. Woohoo, progress! And then I'll figure out what the hell I'm going to do with the floor. It'll probably be some shade of gray or black or something. Love the paint splotches, a self-portrait worth bragging about. Thank you. Hopefully it'll work out pretty well and he'll be really cute. I think he'll be pretty good once we're done. I just have to figure out where all the lighting is, and maybe I should have left a section on top white so that it could have been light. Too late now, I didn't think about it until now, but we'll just assume the light is above him. So we'll figure that out later. Yeah, alright. I am quitting while I'm ahead. And I'll fix things later as needed. Alright, well, Goddess, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Claire Burr, if you're still out there lurking, thank you so much for lurking and hanging out with me at the beginning. I appreciate y'all for being here. That's it for me. I'm gonna head out now and relax and eat and enjoy the rest of my evening. And I hope you all do as well. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Bear. Heading out. I'll see you later. Bye.